First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And wanted to go into this quick lesson, okay, as the title came to me, which is They Don't Want Thinkers, They Want Slaves, okay? And I think we all know who the they are by now, although it doesn't really matter what they want. Nevertheless, that is an explanation as to why you're seeing what you're seeing, of course, in the headlines today. Now, this is an article that came out today, and yeah, it's current events, so of course we're gonna keep on going into it and talking about it and speaking as the Spirit gives us utterance, because that's our job. All right, and right now with the Spirit, the main topic the Spirit has us on is this whole situation. All right, why? Because at the end of the day, it still ties back to and pertains to this truth. Okay, so now, what do I mean by they don't want thinkers, they want slaves? Well, we've said, like for example, if let's say Ye or Kyrie came out and posted something about us being, Kemetic, or us going back to, like, I don't know, some Hamitic past or something along those lines. Do you think that this would have been the reaction that they would have gotten, the backlash or the feedback getting dropped from such and such? No, that's not the case, right? They wouldn't have said that's anti-Kemetic or anti-African because you're trying to say that you're the true Africans or whatever the case may be. Um, and the reason why this is all happening now is because, I mean, they can really care less about, when I say they, I'm referring to the actual elites. Yes, they exist. Okay, no matter what they try to, push to cover it up, you got to ask yourself, right? If this is such a conspiracy theory or whatever, why are they so concerned about it? Why not just brush it aside? Why not just ignore it? It doesn't matter, right? It's not, we just made it up and decided to go along with it. So why such a big fuss over something that we just made up? Right? If that's the case, if we're just making up rhetoric and saying that, oh, you have some super elite that are behind the scenes pulling the strings, why is it that when we mention it, you get so antsy about it? It's like somebody who commits murder, and then you mention anything about death or murder or hurt around them, they get all jittery, you know. Anyway, the point is that those at the top, I mean, they can care less about what you're actually saying. The problem is why you're saying it. Okay? Remember, they don't want thinkers, they want slaves. Why are you talking about stuff like this? That's the real threat. Because, yeah, you can say one thing, but where is this stemming from? What are you thinking about? What are you hearing, and what are you looking into? What are you reading that's bringing about such words, such actions? What that is what they fear, and their biggest fear is that the cause of this is the fact that prophecy is being fulfilled and we're waking up to the fact of who we really are. That's their biggest fear, because they know that once that starts, which it already has, there's no stopping it. And they knew that this had started years ago when the prophets woke up, because the Lord woke up the prophets first. Okay, 1 Corinthians 4:9, and then the rest, because the prophets needed to push the word out. And when the prophets woke up, they knew. But as time goes on, they try little things here and there. But now they're starting to see that no, 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 no. We got to put an end to this. The so-called slaves are starting to think, and when the slaves start to think, that's a problem. Even going back to the plantation, what happened to the slaves that snuck and, as we're told, right, snuck and learned how to read and write? They became a very big problem. They started to teach others how to read and write. They could read documents. They could read letters. They could read these things and they were trying to read everything. And that is a problem, because a slave that thinks, a slave that's free in his mind, is not a true slave. You know what I mean? He may be shackled up. He may be physically bound, but That's the worst. That's the most dangerous kind of slave to them. The one that knows he's a slave, that knows he's not free, that can think for himself, and they don't want that. Go and watch the movie 1984. They had a concept of thought criminals. And you know what a thought criminal was? A thought criminal wasn't somebody that woke up one day and said, I want to go and violently murder innocent young children or something. No, no, no. Those weren't thought criminals. They didn't that wasn't the definition of a thought criminal. Right? Somebody that gets up and just goes off and decides to do wickedness. No, 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 no. A thought criminal was somebody that didn't think according to the agenda. A thought criminal was somebody that if you put up four fingers and said, how many hands am I holding up? And they said four, or how many fingers do I have up? And they said four, that was a thought criminal. You know why? Because they were thinking. And they show you that in the movie 1984, George Orwell's 1984. You ain't supposed to think. When you ask questions, you're thinking. Do you know why in school they always encourage asking questions? Because that's how they know if you're thinking or not. If you're not thinking, you're not asking questions. Try talking to somebody about something they're not interested in. Do you think they're going to ask you a question about it? No, more than likely not. They'll just look at you, they'll nod. Occasionally, they might make eye contact. They'll say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. But you're never going to hear a question because they're not listening and they're not thinking about what you're saying. They're just hearing the words and waiting for you to stop talking. Okay? But if they start thinking about it, they start getting engaged, that's when they ask questions. Oh, well, you said this. Well, what do you mean by that? Is that this? Or is that why they do this? That's how you know they're thinking. That's how you know they're engaged. Right? So, going back to the title, they don't want thinkers, they want slaves. They want people that do. So, let's go to Kyrie, for example. Right? You play in the NBA, you playing basketball, right? That's what you're good at it. You're making money. You're making them money. That's what they want. That's it. Come out and play. That don't come and think about anything. Just don't worry about who's on top and who's making more money and who you truly. You're a basketball. You're a black basketball player. That's all you are. That's all you'll ever be. So keep doing it. That's the mindset that they want you to have. If you see something, it should. They want it to be like being in the mist. Okay, being in the midst of um, of cattle. You can say the most top secret things in a barn and not be worried. Why? Because what the hell is a cow gonna do? You can put your password to the damn nuclear button, for example, in front of a cow, and you're not gonna be afraid because whether a cow is there or not, even if a cow is there, it's like they're not. That's what they want you to be like. They want you to, no matter what happens, you're just like a cattle. But the second you start to move and start to talk, that's a problem. So that's why you're seeing all these things happening because you got to ask yourself, well, what exactly, of all the different things that people have said in history, why is it that whenever it comes to this one thing, there's always the same reaction? Anyway, Salaki, enough rambling. Let me read this a little bit and get a few precepts. So it says, fans protest against NBA star after um, anti-Sem scandal. Kyrie Irving tweeted a link to a controversial movie last week. Let's look up the word controversial. Controversial. It says here, giving rise or likely to give rise to public disagreement. Okay. Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that are considered controversial. Movies, posts, tweets, books. All right. But when it comes to something that's controversial about the truth on this level, that's a no-no. Now it says, um, J J J basketball fans staged a protest against Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving on Monday night by wearing fight anti-Sem T-shirts in courtside seats at his team's game against the Indiana Pacers. The Nets achieved only their second win of the season by beating their visitors 116 to 109 and improving to 2-5. During the first quarter, however, broadcasters captured at least 5 fans with black Fight Anti-Sem t-shirts on the front row at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, a borough said to contain around half of New York City's J population that exceeds 1 million. The males of the group wore traditional J let me be careful with that. J Yar headwear, with the protesters said to have received a thumbs up from Irving at one point of the game. And there you can see it. Oh shoot. Oh man, goddamn. Anyway, there's a picture of it, right? Look at this guy here. You can only imagine the thoughts that are going on in his mind. Oh boy. Um, and then it says Irving has been in hot water due to tweeting a link to the film Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America on Thursday last week. The movie has been widely branded as anti-Sem. Irving has since deleted his tweet, but in a heated post-game press conference on Saturday, he defended his right to share the link and vowed, "I'm not going to stand down on anything I believe in. I'm only going to get stronger because I'm not alone. I have a whole army around me." And yeah, they're mad at him because of what he believes in, and that shows you that what they want control of what you believe in, right? Uh, you have people that are Satanists, right? Nobody has a problem with that. This is a so-called God-fearing country, and nobody has a problem with people being Satanists, having after-school Satanism clubs. But if you go and call yourself a J, whoa, hold on, that's a problem. You're a demon. You hear that? You have top elites engaging in you know they're trying to normalize what they call MAPS, minor attracted persons. That's 100% okay. But if you say that history says something otherwise than what they say, no, 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 you can't do that. That's criminal activity right there. He says, "Did I do anything illegal? Did I hurt anybody? Did I harm anybody? Am I going out and saying that I hate one specific group of people?" Irving also asked rhetorically. Irving was condemned by Nets owner Joseph Tsai, the franchise and league, which denounced hate speech. Oh, wow, okay. Nets coach Steve Nash confirmed that the team had spoken to Irving at the weekend and said on Monday that the controversy provides an opportunity for us to grow and understand new perspectives. And then it goes on and so on and so forth. It's pretty much it with the article. But there you go, right? When you start to think, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, that's when you find out who really owns these things. Okay? Yes, that's the truth. That's the truth. There's a tactic, right? There's a certain it's like a fallacy of a tactic that they use, which is to demonize the truth before you can tell it. Okay? It doesn't go exactly like that. I just phrased it that way. In essence, they to demonize the truth before you can tell it. And that happens when if I demonize something before you say it, I've already programmed a preconceived notion into people's minds as to how to react, no matter what it is that you say, how you say it, because I have demonized the truth before it can be told. So, whether it's the truth or it's not the truth, whatever it is that's being told, there's going to be some automatic reaction. And what's an example, right? If they come out like one of the so-called rabbis came out and said, and what they said was, "Oh, they're saying that we control everything." I'm speaking in the say for example, I'm that lady, right? And this is what she said. They said that we control everything, and we're in control of the media and these big companies and all these things. And on the one hand, if we don't do anything, then it's kind of like, see. And on the other hand, if we do something, then it's kind of like, oh, we told you. See, the second somebody spoke against them, look at what they did. Look at what's happening to them. And that's what she threw out there, right? So now, even though it is the truth that the second somebody does speak the truth about them, these things do happen, because she's thrown out something like this, people who don't think for themselves will sit there and say, that is true. And then the next time they hear somebody say, hey, this is an example as to how these Jays run everything. Look at what happened when Ye said something. Look at how hard they came down on him. Now this ignorant person is gonna say, "Oh, well, you're just saying that because, well, that's expected, right? Because you knew you're saying that because you know that people were gonna come against him, and so you can use that for your claim." Now it's the truth, but they demonized it, or they try to demonize it before you can say it. Here's another example, right? When they when you I don't know, maybe you say the world is run by a secret group of rich banking families, right? These elites that control things and pull strings from behind the scenes. Now, if before you get a chance to go out and spread that news, they come out and spread the news first and say there's a conspiracy theory going on that the world is controlled by these super rich banking families. Can you believe that? Wow. Conspiracy theories nowadays, huh? Now they've broken the ice, but the initial reaction to it is, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. So the next place that you go and hear something like this, you think back to the first time you heard it, and you're gonna identify it as a conspiracy theory. Somebody comes up to you and say, "Yo, did you know that the world is run by some elites?" Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's another one of them conspiracy theories. That's what you're automatically. Well, that's what typically people are gonna automatically classify it as, because the first exposure to such information was tied to demonization. So they demonize the truth before you can tell it. All right, now I want to get a quick precept. Um, Here in the book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 4 to 6. All right, now it says here, if thou be for his prophet, and the he here is talking about Esau, Edom, okay, which in this instance being that they own everything, all right, starting with their top rich banking families, it says, if thou be for his prophet, he shall use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee, yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou? Yeah, because when you are not a thinker, when you are a good slave, and you go and they want you to be that influence, they want that that money, that control, that power from you. They want you to go out and work for them. Then they'll make it sound like they're at a disadvantage cutting you such a deal. Right? If thou be for his prophet, he will use you until you're no longer usable. Then you'll realize how worthless you truly are to him by how quick they're gonna drop you. At one point, right, with the fame that Kanye had and the music and everybody's talking about him and how he's being promoted here and there, right? You would have thought, damn. I'm sure he would have thought, damn, this, what I mean, I'm doing pretty good. The record, the company that signed me, yada yada. I had to sign a contract, but maybe it ain't so bad. Until you stop being useful to them. Until instead of singing and rapping about the things they want you to sing and rap about, because remember, you're the artist that is controlled by them. Now you start to say things that are opposite, things that hurt their agenda. You see how quick they drop you. And as it says, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear and will not be sorry for it. And now you're seeing they're pretty much losing, all the things that they had. All right, they're being made bare because they're no longer of use. Okay, you're of use when you're not a thinker. But once you become a thinker, you can't unthink. You can't go back. Once you're awake, you can't really go back to sleep. All right, in this context. So the next precept here is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. And it says here, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crabby. And this shows you how off this is, because the proof is there. There's actual proof. There's videos, there's documents, there's writings, not just by people of color, but The Jays themselves that have said that, hey, the things that they're demonizing us for saying, people of their quote unquote kind have come out and said the same thing with proof. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Okay, because that's when you're gonna really, yo, damn, this guy is really and that's the thing. That's what Jake is realizing. Like, damn, this when with that saying, the the I'm gonna say it verbatim, the white man is the devil, right? That saying, now people are starting to, or now Jake is starting to get a understanding of why that was said. They're like, damn, this wasn't just like a baseless claim after all. Okay? And I'm going to finish it off here in the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30, because at the end of the day, this is the prophecy that's being fulfilled. All right, Baruch 2 and 30, it says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, referring on to the children of Israel. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And that's what's happening. What does it say? What was the so-called controversial thing? It was what? Hebrews to Negroes, wake up, Black America. And it's not just blacks, Latinos and Native Americans included, because that together we make up the 12 tribes. But we're remembering ourselves. We're remembering our power. We're remembering who we are. And you have certain Jays that were born and taught these things that don't know any better, because the true secrets of it lie with the elites. Okay? But at the end of the day, this is not going to stop prophecy. All right? And it says here in verse 31, and shall know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them an heart, meaning a mind, and ears to hear. And that's why we're starting to understand what's truly going on. It says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, which we're doing, and think upon my name, which the name is Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before the Lord. And that's what's happening. But the is one thing to be a thinker, is another thing to be a spiritual thinker. At that point, that you got to go. And they're coming in hot with their NWO. So as it says in Revelation 12, they're going to come down with great wrath. But as it says in Isaiah 59 and 19, the Spirit of the Lord is going to lift up a standard against them. All right. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachakudash. Until next time, Shalom.